Welcome to Eternal Night. Today, S story is about Kim Wall. What began as a simple news assignment ended as one of the darkest headlines in history. This is the sound of the sea hitting the shore. This is the sound of waves lapping against a boat. This is the sound of the UC-3 Nautilus sinking beneath the surface. In the summer of 2017, Kim Wall arrived in Copenhagen. She was a Swedish freelance journalist, ambitious, curious, confident. She'd been reporting all over the world, from China to India, on topics from feminism to nuclear waste. She had written for the BBC, Al Jazeera, The Guardian, and the New York Times. Her work had taken her all over the globe, uncovering stories that mattered. But this trip was different. She wasn't there to cover politics or policy. She was there to meet a character, a man named Peter Madsen, a Danish inventor-engineer known for his unusual projects. His latest one was a homemade submarine, a vessel that spoke to both his love for engineering and storytelling. For Madsen, the Nautilus was more than a vessel. It was a symbol of imagination, science, and performance all at once. Its creation involved years of work and thousands of hours spent welding, designing, and researching. He had documented every step of the way on YouTube, and by the time it was finished, the submarine had become a local celebrity in Copenhagen. Some saw it as a quirky novelty, others as a marvel of DIY engineering. But everyone wanted to know how he built it and why. For Wall, it was a story worth telling. Here was an amateur engineer who defied the odds and created something unique. And more than that, someone who was passionate about sharing his journey. So when the opportunity came to tour the submarine, Wall jumped at it. On the evening of August, she met Madsen and his wife at the docks. They talked about his work, the submarine, and his plans for the future. Later, Madsen invited her to take a closer look inside the Nautilus. She accepted and waved goodbye to her boyfriend and friends. That was the last time anyone saw Kim Wall alive. Next morning, the submarine failed to return. The alarm was raised. The Nautilus had been damaged. It was found partially sunk, a gash along its side. Madsen claimed he had anchored the sub and gone swimming when the boat sprang a leak, but he gave several different explanations about what had happened. First, he said he'd dropped Wall off safely. Later, he admitted she had died on board, but his accounts kept changing. When police searched the Nautilus, they found traces of blood, some personal items belonging to Wall, and a bolt that matched a hatch on the submarine's pressure hull, suggesting it had been ripped open from the inside. Later, police recovered some of Wall's remains from the sea, a leg and a bicycle. The medical examiner concluded that Wall had been killed by a sharp object, perhaps a knife. As evidence mounted, the picture darkened. Investigators searched Madsen's home and office, focusing on his computer. On it, they found disturbing material, violent videos and searches that prosecutors would argue revealed dark interests. Then came the trial, a dramatic courtroom showdown where two narratives collided. One painted a picture of an eccentric inventor, Peter Madsen, who had taken a visitor on a fateful ride that turned deadly. The other centered around Kim Wall, a young journalist eager to tell a compelling story who never came back. The prosecution presented a scenario in which Madsen had carefully planned aspects of that night, pointing to inconsistencies in his story, to tools found on the submarine and his online searches. They argued that these signs pointed to a deliberate act, a betrayal of trust that ended in violence. The defense, however, insisted that Wall's death had been unintended, the tragic result of technical problems on the vessel. They portrayed Madsen as a man deeply affected by the accident, someone who tried his best to save Wall but ultimately couldn't. The case became a media sensation. Every day brought new revelations, new theories, new twists. Experts dissected the evidence, journalists followed every lead, and the public waited anxiously for answers. Amidst the chaos, two families grappled with the fallout. The Walls, grappling with the loss of their daughter, and the Madsens, caught in the shadow of a crime that tarnished their family name. Friends and colleagues of Wall spoke of her passion for journalism, her curiosity, and her compassion. They recalled a vibrant young woman who fearlessly chased stories, a true seeker of truth. On the other side were those who knew Madsen, offering glimpses into a complex character. They spoke of his brilliance, his dedication to his work, and his larger-than-life personality, They also described his eccentricities and questionable choices, painting a portrait of a man who lived life on his own terms. As the trial progressed, psychologists took the stand, shedding light on Madsen's state of mind. They described a man with a troubled past, someone who struggled with mental health issues and had a history of violence. They offered insights into his behavior, his motivations, and his capacity for both great things and terrible acts. Witnesses recounted their experiences with Madsen, some praising his ingenuity and enthusiasm, others detailing unsettling encounters. Together, their testimonies wove a complicated picture of a man who seemed to defy easy categorization. Throughout the trial, the court grappled with a central question: what truly happened on that fateful night aboard the Nautilus? Did Peter Madsen intentionally harm Kim Wall, or did a tragic accident take her life? The answer, they decided, lay in the details, in the evidence, and in the testimonies of those involved. Their verdict would not only determine Madsen's fate, but also bring some measure of closure to a nation captivated by this tale. In April 2018, after nearly 5 months of hearings, Peter Madsen was found guilty of murder, assault, and indecent handling of a body. He was sentenced to life in prison. The submarine, once a symbol of innovation, now stood as a grim reminder of what had transpired. It was dismantled soon after. The trial and conviction left a profound impact on Denmark and beyond. Questions about the nature of evil, the complexities of the human psyche, and the boundaries of scientific exploration dominated public discourse. It was a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of innovation and genius. Today, Kim Wall is remembered as a bright and compassionate journalist who fearlessly pursued the stories that mattered. Her family described her as fearless, curious, and committed to giving voice to others. Her legacy lives on through the Kim Wall Memorial Fund, which supports female reporters pursuing undertold stories. As for Peter Madsen, he remains behind bars, his fate sealed. The details of his release, if any, are yet to be made public. His story serves as a cautionary tale about the perils of unchecked ambition and the fine line between brilliance and monstrosity. In the aftermath of this harrowing event, many questions remain. What drove Madsen to commit such acts? How could someone with such a brilliant mind engage in such horrific behavior? And how does the story of the Nautilus continue to resonate in today's world? These questions are crucial as they help us understand the depths of human darkness and the importance of seeking truth and justice. The tale of the Nautilus is a chilling reminder. Behind every extraordinary invention, every brilliant mind, there exists a thin veneer of civilization. Eternal night never ends, and neither do the mysteries. Every shadow hides a story, and the deeper you look, the darker its secrets become. If you like this kind of content, please stay tuned for more updates. Thanks for watching.